Well, Metroid Prime 4 has finally been announced, and we're getting to see things we have never seen before in the Metroid universe, such as this stunning battle that we get to see live in the game between the Space Pirates and the Federation, and more importantly to me, we get to finally see Silex's big plan come to fruition. So I want to take a moment to analyze the trailer and give some lore context of what's going on here. First things first, we have to talk about the battle itself, and more notably, let's talk about these Prime-era Space Pirates. It's been well established that the Space Pirates are hive-minded, require a strong leader for them to maintain their intelligence. It's been assumed that to this point that after the events of Prime 3, when Dark Samus dies, these pirates had devolved, hence their absence from the story. But this trailer confirms that for some 3 years, from 20XE6 to 20XE9, between Dark Samus' death and the time of this game, Silex has been in charge of these specific pirates. This actually makes some degree of sense, actually, in a way, as it explains why these pirates didn't simply rally around the newly created Mother Brain on Planet Zebes and Super Metroid. I also want to touch on some more minor details I noticed, such as the fact that Samus has changed her ship again. I've always said that Samus must have a lot of money, because from Zero Mission to the Prime games, up through Prime 4, which we see her now, she has changed her ship design some 6 different times. Perhaps it is just part of her personality that she is never satisfied with her ship designs. As we know, she will return to her classic ship design by the time of Samus and Joey and Metroid Fusion, which, in regards to the manga, as explained in length before in other videos, it is canon. I don't want to see the comments in my comment section. Another thing worth noting is the battle itself. From what it looks, this seems to confirm what I've suspected, that the Federation doesn't seem to keep orbiting defense fleets around planets that often. As in the shots of the sky we see, we don't really see any Federation ships, and the defenders really seem to be reliant on anti-air cannons, which, as you expect, don't seem to be working too well. As for the ground battle, I mean, with Samus in the field, I do wonder if Silex has any sort of reinforcements to call on. We know that from Dread that Kraid and Dragon are in the hands of Ravenbeak. We know that Ridley died his true death in Super Metroid, so one has to wonder if Silex has any backup here, as Samus is pretty strong. And for those of you who don't really know, you may be noting that she's in her Varia suit, maybe she's weaker than him. It is worth noting, back to Prime Hunters, Silex was only stated to be rivaling a Varia suit Samus back in that game, and of course we all know he lost that fight pretty badly. Now, one more thing I really want to discuss is the Metroid Silex brings with him, and the fact that they only have one nucleus. Now, many think these could be Mocktroids, the early failed clones Mother Brain made to try to clone the Super Metroid, which we encounter in Meridia in that game. But these are actually Talvanian Metroids. You see, when we look at both the earlier gameplay when we encounter the adult Talvanian Metroids, and the secret ending for Federation Force when we see a newly born Talvanian Metroid, they both only have one nucleus. While Metroids are obviously a terrifying species, I truly wonder if they'll do Silex any good here. Offshoots from the Talon Metroid line tend to be far less effective than their SR-388 counterparts. For example, in the prequel manga and in the Metroid 2 tie-in guide, some SR-388 Metroids exterminated an entire civilized planet by themselves. Yet here in the cutscene, of course, Silex opts for a traditional invasion strategy instead. Also, this planet, seen at the end, makes me wonder if these Metroids are the same ones that Drew Gad and his team run into before Samus and Joey, which let them make the Megaroids. Just a thought. And the final important question, of course, is when does this game take place? Well, given it is in 20XD9, aka 2029, this means it's 3 years after the last Prime game set in 2026, 2 years after Super Metroid set in 2027 or 20XD7, after Other M, which takes place no more than a year after Super Metroid, and before Samus and Joey manga, and before Fusion, given that takes place several years later. But that's all for now. Those are my initial thoughts, so you know how I leave you. Be safe, be wise, and please pray for a true peace in space.